Nut night.
Nut night.
Nut night.
Alright, welcome to the first episode of my Decoded series. The first subject matter is going to be the epic classic, what would you call that, television series, Good Times. I think it debuted in 1974, but we say, the early to mid 70s. It was the first black family on television, and I mean, everybody I knew was, well, at 74 I was 3 years old, so I can't even act like all that, but by the time what would that be, like 78, 79, we was still geeked about watching Good Times, because it was like one of the few black shows, with the whole family on TV, so you had a lot of full dynamic with the whole family. Decoded. Why did I name it Decoded? Because decoding is like, okay, you got the script, which is like the obvious coding, and like decoding is peeling back the obvious so you can see like the subtle meanings and the subtle patterns. Alright, so the decoder that I'm going to use with this is we're going to follow James Evans, the father. So like I got introduced to Good Times from my dad, right? So he was like, because like I said, it was 78. Time had passed from when it really originally came on TV. I was watching it in syndication. He was expressing how it was, when it first came out. Kind of like telling me how it was back in, 74 when it came out. And what he says, and basically what I'm trying to say is what everyone says, even what I say, is, it was fucked up how James, died. Like, even I watched the documentary, and the cast said that, much of the cast was like, it was not as good from that point on, when they killed James out of the scene. And also in the same documentary, I saw, so the original creators of Good Times, maybe I'll show their pictures right now. Their names elude me, but they were brothers. One of them was the actor Lionel on Good Times, the original Lionel on Good Times. On Jefferson's. So they wanted it with a black father, and then I guess what the CBS, whatever the network was for Good Times, they wanted it without the dad, and they had a big battle. Why was it such a big battle? That kind of is like part of the decoding aspect as well, how it subtly affects everything. And it's also, as far as why I choose James, it's like, if they killed him off and they never wanted him, there's probably a lot of evidence of that on screen. You know what I mean? Like, if you watch it, how much of that, if television programming is to program us, how did that programming go down? So, it's a good way to look at it like that. It's also a good way to go back and be like, wow, this is how they programmed us when we was little. You know what I mean? And also for the youth, it's a good way to see how your elders got programmed. You know what I mean? So that's why we're doing it. The first thing we're going to do is decode the damn theme song, right? The theme song should be Bad Times. No line in the song is a good time. Zero. It's let's see, it's the best line in the songs range from neutral to not quite bad times. Like, those is the best lines. All the rest is bad lines. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna line by line it, good or bad time. Right, just right quick, run through it right quick, right? So
Good time. Anytime you need a payment.
bad time.
Good
I mean, you need a friend. I wouldn't necessarily call that a bad time, but the way it's coming off the last line, it's in the neutral. I'm gonna put it in the neutral. All right. Not quite so bad time, because it's still, okay, it's not a bad time, but it's still being spoken in terms of bad time. So it's like not quite this bad time.
Keeping your head above water, making a wave when you can.
Keeping your head above water. Like I should have my whole body above water. What the fuck is, I'm supposed to be celebrating. Yo, and we was mad happy during good time. Like, we was mad geese. We love this theme song. I ain't even going front. We knew the whole shit pretty much. Except for that one line we about to come up on. Alright, I digress.
Temporary layoffs. Good time.
Absolute bad time, I guess.
Easy credit rip-offs. Good time.
Absolute bad time. No doubt.
Scratching and surviving. Good time.
Not an absolute bad time, but for the most part, a bad time.
Hanging in a child line. Good time.
Hanging in the child line, not quite a bad time. I'm hung in a child line. I'd rather be at home cooking though, the way I want my shit.
Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good time.
And then to wrap it off, and the ribbon and the bow, nigga said, ain't you lucky you got these, these not quite bad times. All right, that's the decoding of the theme song. On to the next. All right, so basically the first episode, the way I'm gonna kind of ease into, I'm gonna do more than one episode. This one is just the best one to describe the characters. This is like an introduction to all the characters. The first character we're gonna look, is Michael Evans. We're gonna look at the scene. He was the militant midget. They wanted him to be a lawyer or a judge, but then during the end, after James, he became a singer and stuff. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at this first scene.
Oh, who needs you anyway? I wouldn't play with you again if you was the last kid in the project. Who was you yelling at in the hallway? Eric, me and him was playing cops in Milton. So, kept making me the cop.
Thelma, I just been down 17 floors for the mail. I got some dispensing here to do. Here's something for Michael. Bulletins from the NAACP, CORE, SNCC,
And the Pan-African Council. Thank you kindly.
Next, we taking a look at Thelma. So what was Thelma's character? Thelma's character really wasn't that deep. She was just like the young, beautiful, and fine. Like, they kind of like showed her body off and stuff like that. That was her character. She married a football player and stuff. I also want to stress she used a lot of crybaby techniques like, Daddy, but Daddy!
It's a good thing you're back. James Jr.'s disappeared and I need some help with this breakfast. You sure do. Black is beautiful, Thelma, but not when it's oatmeal. Don't give me no lip, Michael. I'm only doing this so Mama can rest up from her operation. And where's that big string bean brother of yours? He was supposed to help me set the table, make the beds, and clean up. There you are.
All right, next is JJ. Everybody knows JJ, but I'll decode it. He's the family jester. He's the older sibling's son. He's ultra confident with his ladies, but they all busted. But he's a talented, aspiring artist.
And here's a free sample for little sister. Afro Glow face cream for the look of beauty. I didn't know they could bottle miracles.
Look who's talking. If you were born in Detroit, you'd have been recalled for being dangerously ugly. No, you just talk to JJ like that.
All right, now we look at Florida Evans. Everybody had to think, yo, this is like Aunt Jemima, which was like the black Christian mother, kind of like plantation, keep all everybody in line. She was borderline over optimistic and hope, kind of like that old Christian Aunt Jemima ass way.
Well, it's comforting to know there's still some respect for black power around here.
Sorry, Mom.
Mama, you should be resting. You're supposed to be weak.
They only took out my appendix, not my mouth nor my fist. Now, what's going on?
She called me ugly.
So next we gonna go with James Evans. He's the strong black father, but he always in a long-suffering fight against poverty every goddamn episode. And he's frequently juxtaposed between being a decisive father or being an angry black man. It's like he either about to be an angry ass black, like that's the way that's the catch-22 they got him in.
You worked all night and all they paid you was $6?
Mm-mm. They paid me a lot more. But after they got finished taking out the federal withholding, the state withholding, the unemployment compensation, the state disability insurance, and then this extra goodie they slipped on me at the last minute, a $2 charge for getting my dishwashing uniform clean. You know something, baby, if I'd worked for them a few more hours, I'd end up owing them $10. Well, anyhow, all we need now is $70.
Which we had before I went to the hospital. Oh, James, I'm so sorry.
And now we got Walona Woods. She was her character was the modern day fashionable black woman back in '74. She was self-proclaimed nosy and gossipy neighbor. And I always just found it like even her intro coming in, she got a knack for interrupting James in Florida when they about to powwow on something. You know what I mean?
Now, I'm telling you, we're gonna be just fine.
But we still have this piece of paper here.
And Monty told me don't worry about it. And he said everything's gonna be all right.
Anybody home? Ooh-wee, the hawk is really biting out there this morning. It's so cold in that hallway, I rubbed my face and cut my finger on my eyelashes. I can get a warmer welcome at a Klan meeting. Florida, what's the problem today?
An eviction notice that says final.
Oh, Lord, an eviction.
Which don't mean a thing. And let's talk about something else. How was that date you had last night, Walona?
Nah, that's what I want to tell you. 6'2", shoulders out to here, and a smile that lit up the night. And he mugged me. I tell you, the way my luck is running, I'm thinking of joining a monastery.
A convent, Walona. Only men go to monasteries.
Oh. Quiet, Thelma. Lona know what she's saying.
All right, so I guess we're gonna get into some actual decoding. Let's look at the episode and see what it's about. So I got this off of Wikipedia. It said, and it's pretty accurate. I watched it, So with an eviction notice over their heads, the Evans family scrambles to come up with $74 needed for their rent. Despite Florida's opinion, James goes down to the pool hall to try to hustle some money. JJ comes up with a scheme of his own, and Florida and Walona go down to the welfare office. All right, yeah. And like I said, we're gonna James is the character that we're gonna use as the decoder. We get to look at it from his perspective, basically, and see what the program might be through that perspective. So, also, I think a good side note is looking at JJ's and Thelma's dynamic between them. Like, it was mostly for comedy, to kind of bring levity to the damn suffering of the main plots of every episode. But like it was a lot of just, I don't know, a lot of imagery of a black dude and a black girl just hammering at each other all goddamn day. So, but anyways, I just thought that was a good side note. It kind of weaves in seamlessly, even when looking at it through James as the decoder. So in this upcoming scene, all right, in the early episodes, the actors, namely John Amos and Esther Rowe, like they were the driving forces. All the other actors, like Willona had experience on stage, Michael had experience on stage, but as far as acting, JJ might have been like not as experienced as them. Mike more or less so than the first two. And Thelma was kind of like they said, it's rumored she really was not a good actor. So, all right, in this scene, as far as the first episode goes, we see the strength of James. A future episode, like this is light work compared to future episodes. He'll show much more. I don't know if stronger is the word, but it comes off more aggressive.
What the hell you think you're doing here? And take your hats off in my house.
We're here to remove the contents of this apartment due to non-payment of rent and pursuant to Article 5 of the lease agreement between the family named Evans and their projects.
Yeah, well, unless both of y'all out of here in 6 seconds, the only thing you're gonna be removing is some knuckles from your face, which is pursuant to the end of my fist.
So the next scene is James. He gonna decide he gotta go shoot pool to come up with the rent. And basically, as far as his character go, it's like he get decisive. He's like, this is what it's time to do this and make this move and make it happen. So, in the middle of their father, strong black father, being decisive, making his move, you see Florida. You just see this whip crap, snap of fear just go across her back. You just look at her eyes, you can see just fear of going to hell. And she runs across the room and, gets into that old Aunt Jemima Christian role. The way, turn the other cheek mode type styles. And then I think it's important to note that's a strong thing with Florida. Again, I guess I explained it in her introduction, but it's worth explaining again. Like they layered that aspect on thick with that,
Well, baby, I got till 5 o'clock to get us $72. I don't know but one way to get it.
James, don't you dare go into that closet.
What's he gonna do, Mama?
He's getting his pool cue.
Dynamite!
Yeah, it's been years since I used this thing, but I still shoot a pretty good stick.
James, I don't want you hustling no pool. You promised.
And I also promised to take care of my family. Now, if anybody here knows another way I can raise the rent by 5 o'clock, I'll lay this up.
Moving on even more into that scene, Willona goes ahead and suggests welfare. I ain't gonna say it's a good or bad suggestion. Looking back, that's part of this decoding process. It was going down to welfare, the best thing for the black family. I mean, in survival mode, yes, but in long term, like we scattered all over the earth type styles, maybe not. So, Willona suggests the welfare, and James clearly says no. And when she makes the suggestion, she actually cuts James off or out. Like, they're having a family conversation, and she just acted like James is not even there. Like, starts, Florida, blah, 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 and bringing up bomb-ass. Yeah, but anyways, Florida also in this scene pours even furthermore on with the Aunt Jemima, Christian stuff. Over optimistic hope, a lot of hope and not much reason, all faith and no reason.
I know they got emergency funds down at the welfare, Florida.
No good, Willona. I ain't taking no handouts.
James, the Lord don't want you hustling no pool.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to work out an understanding with the Lord some other time, Florida. Now move.
All right, we already kind of like seen her first scene where she basically declared she got the power, which is true. You know what I'm saying? But she declared it, you know what I mean? Which is an imprint on the show, an impression. So, I don't know, James probably did too, which is an impression as well. So, in this scene, you'll see the scene, you'll see what I'm saying, why I highlight it. It expresses the modern view of the black household, a reference to some magazine or something like this. and to, you know, try to officialize it a little bit more, make it more normalized. But also what I want to do is give a shout out to Esther Rolle, the actress, for saying she would not take the role if they didn't give her a father. So, I mean, because you do a little research, you find out that at times her and John Amos wasn't really getting along and everything. But before it all set it off, she wouldn't do the show without him. So shout out to Esther Rolle for that power move.
Well, Anna, don't all the magazines say that our women are supposed to be heads of the house?
They sure do.
Well, somebody ought to tell James.
We want to iterate at this point. We're in television, watching, you know, programming and stuff, and people was mad excited to see this black family. And it was kind of influential, is what I kind of say. So also part of this decoding is to like check how it influenced us, or how they tried to influence us even. You know what I mean? So, and did it work? And basically it's the scene where Thun was like, yo, I'm too fine to help with, you know, with anything really, it looked like to me. And I think that, I guess I'm bringing it up because that warped view did become popular. Like way popular as well. I guess I'm bringing it out because of that.
Suppose Daddy don't get the money at the pool hall, and Mama don't get the money at welfare. I tell you, we gotta do something.
I don't want to have nothing to do with none of your lame hustles. I'm too fine for that.
Look, stupid, we gotta do something before they throw you out on the sidewalk, where you're gonna freeze your fine right off.
All right, the next scene, basically this is Willona in Florida at the welfare office, which, if we're using James as the decoder, it's like just, I guess the most simplest way is like lying to him, or it's like making a move without him, and then even more so, it's your girlfriend leading the way, so you stepping outside the bounds of husband and wife, basically. So it's kind of like a little betrayal of loyalty as well. But also in the scene, you know, the Good Times did slide off some good power lines as far as politically for the 70s era. Like, you couldn't get stuff off in the 70s like you can now politically. You know, so.
I'm sorry, Florida.
Don't be, you tried. Imagine being turned down because James made $100 too much last year. I didn't know $4,200 was the limit for a family with 3 kids.
Now, I got a great idea. If you just had one more kid.
Thanks a lot, Willona. But I'll need at least 9 months' notice.
You know, if we were rich and needed some emergency funds, we'd get it just like that.
But rich folks don't take welfare, do they?
No, they call it subsidy. Be right back.
So in this scene, I think if you decode it, Florida places Christianity over the father of her family. Like, I mean, it's clearly drawn out. Mike say, just, you know, she alludes to the father, and Mike says, what, you gonna wait for dad? And she was like, not that father. And she goes, you know, over and, you know, prays to the, you know, Aunt Jemima. She out there Aunt Jemima again, you know, and basically it reinforces the folly of placing hope over finding decisions. You know, because when you're in hope, you kind of got to shift out of hope if you're going to go into a finding solution mode. You can't just stay in hope, because hope is kind of like desperate, and in desperation, you feeling like it ain't no solution. You know what I mean? It's desperate. You know what I mean? So.
Come on, Eddie.
Don't you touch a thing. You waited this long. You can wait a minute longer.
You gonna make him wait for Daddy, Mama?
Not the father you're thinking about. Lord, I know it ain't right to ask for selfish things, but we need help bad, and we need it fast. I know you don't want to see this family out in the street. Lord, you gotta help us. I'm asking for my children.
All right, so we looked at this scene, and Florida's still pouring it on with the Aunt Jemima, you know, calling the other father, the other white daddy's daddy, you know what I mean, praying to him, and pulling those Christian-filled heartstrings. And then James, he come in, he win the money. But look at the decode. This is the decode right here on this one. And it's easy to see, but I think it's subtle, you know what I mean? You gotta catch it. Or you could easily minimize its value. So James, he subtly submits to Florida and to white Jesus by having Monty give him the money. I don't know, you know what I mean, if you put that math together. He didn't just say, here, I made the shot and here's the money. He could, I mean, that's the most simplest thing. It is the truth, right? And it saved a lot of breath. And, you know, you ain't got to pull Monty all up in your business and everything. But he had to do all that extra shit to submit and bow down.
Dad, I knew you'd do it. You got the money.
Better believe I got the money.
Got so much money that we don't need the shoebox.
How'd you do it, Daddy?
How did I do it? Son, I just made the greatest three-cushion shot in the history of Elmo's Pool Emporium.
But Mama ain't gonna like the rent money coming from the pool room, Daddy.
Yeah, and I got that all figured out. Now, what your mama don't know won't hurt her, huh? Well, go on back over there. Go on, man. Monty, you ready? All right, here you go. Well, kids, I'm home.
Everybody's home, yeah, out of sight.
Hello, James. How did it go?
Well, not so good, baby. I guess the Lord didn't intend for me to come by the money that way.
Well, I guess we better get on with what we're here for.
Wait a minute, man. Do I hear a knock at the door? I said, do I hear a knock at the door? Yeah, I thought so. Hey, Monty, come on in, man. What you doing here?
I failed you once, James, when I told you I could stop the eviction. But couldn't fail you twice. So I come with the full amount of your rent money.
All right.
$104.50.
Well, Monty, that's wonderful. Did you hear that, Florida? My friend Monty has saved the day.
Monty, how'd you do it?
All right. Now, in this scene, it's totally fucked up because she gave the lion's share of the credit to white daddy Jesus instead of to James, right? James the one that went down to the pool hall, made sure he got there safely, played some games of pool, you know, and made the triple bank shot, you know what I mean? But she give that shit all to white daddy Jesus, Christianity, Aunt Jemima's. So then, to add further ridiculousness, she act like James triple shot that he learned how to do and executed flawlessly. You know what I mean? Was an inside secret between white daddy, Jesus, and her. Like it was like James didn't have no part of that of the secret that they got between these two when it's all James. The folly of placing hope over like reason. Wow, and finding solutions.
See, Florida? Told you it was gonna be all right.
It's like a miracle, James.
Well, baby, you always did say the Lord moves in mysterious ways. Well, gang, what a day. You all should have been there.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you that we still got a roof over our heads. Thank you that the children didn't have to do nothing illegal. And thank you that we didn't have to go on welfare. And Lord, I thank you too for that great three-cushion shot.
What would I summarize the decodes as for this episode? Alright, James is the decoder. Alright, so like I said earlier, as part of his damn character, really, they're in poverty. So, I mean, that has a certain color to it. Consistently. He always kind of like, he's not being held in a full fabric of comfort. He only got one strand and he's making them joints barely work. You know what I mean? Kind of like a desperate situation, for lack of a better word. That's consistently a pattern. All right, he's about to work it out, a plan with Florida, and then Willona come in and bust. He kind of always, Willona's like the introducer of what White Zaddy Corporation kind of want to go down. You know what I mean? Like, in the back in those times, and I know a few of these people, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, people that thought they was cool with the corporate situation thought they was kind of like hip and ahead of the people that maybe, black folks that maybe were not. You know what I mean? They were maybe more modern and in touch and cool even, you know what I mean? So that's a factor that Willona plays in this to a great part. It's a pattern, you know, it's my opinion, and my opinion is formed off a pattern I see, and I think everyone else can see as well. So we're looking at James. He has to fight the you know, that modern way coming from Willona's angles, and a lot of times from his daughter's angle, but not in this episode. So a lot of time in his wife. But today it came from Willona. And a lot of times Willona, she ain't coming from her, she amplifying it up, you know, supporting it. So also, what does James have to? You see James ready to throw down at the drop of a hat when they come in to remove the, like, you know, James will go there. And that kind of works for him, his pros for that, and his cons for that. Because that easily shifts where they put dark colors, like, they draw him in a bad color, a bad light, to be the angry black man. So it's easy to, like, it's easy for him to look like a hero at one moment in that style, and it's easy to shift him into angry black man in that style. So, but that showed here, and that's part of the coding, and that's a pattern for him. For this particular episode, though, I mean, because it's to see, he always in the clink as far as cash for the rent every damn episode, every other one it seems. So, that's usual. For this one, I think it's, to me, what stands out like a sore thumb is like, he was like, don't go to damn welfare. And they just, everybody, like, it was, they did it, and no one made no kind of deal about it. Like, his word was not shit. Like, nobody gave a second thought about it. And, I mean, I know, it's not even a black father, it's a father, period, you know what I mean? That's a violation. You know what I mean? That's a violation. They ain't even come and be like, yo, we did this because we thought we had to do it at the time. You know, I had to make a clutch decision call. You know what I mean? Against their word. Oh, no. They didn't even give them that, which still would have been filed. I guess the fairness thing is the way when you in that kind of situation, we make these decisions together. Because that's like you giving information to the government about your home, which they don't have. Now they're going to know more about you when it's like, why? You know, there might be a lot of why nots, put it that way. You know what I mean? Let's discuss this and see if it adds up. It's a series, it's not nothing to take lightly. So, but anyways, that stands out the most. What else do I want to add on the decoding tip for this? James, he bowed down. This is the first episode, so make it, you get on a first impression tip, he bowed down to the Jesus thing. But I won't say that's a pattern. A lot of other times, he kind of was like, yo, damn that, you know what I mean? So I would say that's not a pattern. So that was custom made for this episode. And we'll keep score on these type of things. go into the future episodes to kind of like show it's a pattern. I'm saying these things are a pattern because I watched it and like made mark of the pattern. But as we progress these shows, you'll see them to be more of a pattern. Peace. Women up and in the morning and now. Hey.